Breaking: accused abuser Keith Ellison just resigned. Keith Ellison resigned as the deputy chairman of the Democratic National Committee (DNC) Friday, after winning his race for Attorney General of Minnesota, despite allegations of sexual abuse by his ex-girlfriend. Keith's decision means Minnesotans will have a full-time champion fighting for affordable health care, a fair economy, and opportunity for all, DNC Chair Tom Perez wrote in an email, according to the Washington Examiner. His tireless service as deputy chair enabled us to make substantial progress in rebuilding our party and rebuilding trust with our grassroots. New. Tom Perez just emailed this note, saying Keith Ellison has stepped down from DNC to focus on his new job as Atty Gen of Minnesota. The news also comes as Ellison defeated his Republican challenger Doug Wardlow in Tuesday's midterm elections. Ellison maintained a steady lead throughout his campaign, but his lead shrank as he faced sexual abuse allegations from his ex-girlfriend Karen Monahan. Monahan claims Ellison physically and emotionally abused her. Perez did not say who will take Ellison's spot as deputy chairman in his letter. We previously reported about Ellison's accuser who provided a doctor's note of proof that Minnesota's new AG had abused her, but she's still being ignored. DNC Vice Chair Rep. Keith Ellison DMN is no stranger to controversy. He is an uber-liberal that has found himself in political hot water more than once. But one thing that the Democrats are very good at is closing ranks. Even if they have to sacrifice one of their own to do it. After all, Ellison is now running for Attorney General in Minnesota. While Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh is being smeared and splashed all over the media, there is another far more credible Me Too moment playing out in front of us, and it is in the Democratic Party. Keith Ellison is being accused of assault and abuse, and the Dems aren't listening to or believing the woman leveling the charges even though she has records to back up her claims. There is no foggy memory or bleary facts in this scenario. Karen Monahan has no trouble at all being very specific over the alleged abuse from Keith Ellison. Monahan, an environmental activist, and Ellison's former girlfriend, has claimed Ellison emotionally abused her and, at least once, physically abused her. The Democrats are not standing by her at all either. They actually are turning on this woman. It's breathtaking hypocrisy at play, and it is being almost entirely ignored by the media. "I've been smeared, threatened, isolated from my own party," Monahan tweeted. "I provided medical records from 2017, stating on 2 different doctor visits, I told them about the abuse and who did it. My therapist released records stating I have been dealing with and healing from the abuse. 4 people, including my supervisor at the time, stated that I came to them after and shared the exact story I shared publicly. I shared multiple texts between me and Keith, where I discussed the abuse with him and much more," she wrote. "As I said before, I knew I wouldn't be believed." She wrote that coming forward was a huge piece of my healing. Monahan in the tweets tagged the Democratic National Committee and the Minnesota Democratic Farmer-Labor Party. This is a woman who told her physician about the abuse in 2012. She even produced the doctor's report as evidence and brought it forth as proof just to show consistency in her prior accounts of the situation. Crickets from the media. She states that she was in a very stressful environment for years, emotional and physical abuse by a partner with whom she is now separated, reads the November 2017 report, a picture of which Monahan posted on Twitter. She did not have any physical injuries that required an examination in the past. She identifies the individual she was involved with as Congressman Ellison, and she is worried about retribution if she identifies him publicly, the report states. Monahan's son Austin Slim Monahan first aired the allegations against Ellison on August 11 and claimed to have seen evidence of Ellison's abuse. "I was using my mom's computer trying to download something and I clicked on a file. I found over 100 text and Twitter's messages and video almost 2 minutes long that showed Keith Ellison dragging my mama off the bed by her feet, screaming and calling her a FC King BTCH and telling her to get the FCK out of his house," he wrote in a viral Facebook post. Monahan's son added, "Sitting all this time, watching what our mom went through and not being able to say or do anything was hard as hell. None of you know the hell our family has gone through. I don't think half of you would even care. We watched her so-called political friends stand by, say or do nothing. People had an idea what happened and never reached out to my mom. The same people who are posting about social justice are ready to smear my mom, protect a person who abused her and broke the law." Monahan has yet to produce the alleged video, which Ellison has said doesn't exist. J.P. Kolb. Update: this is a record of a 911 call from May 16, 2005. The caller reported she was assaulted by Keith Ellison. J.P. Kolb. I guess we'll see if this time things end up any differently. Unlike the woman accusing Kavanaugh, this sounds very credible and specific. This also isn't the first time that Ellison has been accused of abuse. Back in 2005, Amy Alexander, who was another girlfriend of Ellison's, alleged abuse by Ellison. There was also a 911 report backing that up. The DNC, of course, said in August that they were reviewing the allegations. In other words, they did nothing and buried it, hoping it would all blow over. The Democratic Party has continued to stand by Ellison in his position and in his run for Attorney General. They simply cannot afford to lose him on their roster. They are that desperate. Ellison continues to deny all charges. Monahan has said that she is willing to cooperate with any investigation. I told the investigator I would be happy to talk with Keith Ellison with them in the room. They asked Keith if he would be willing and he declined any meeting with me, Monahan said. I'm not surprised by that in the least, and I'm sure Ellison has the DNC attorney on speed dial these days just in case. Karen Monahan 01. I was asked if my party Minnesota DFL-DNC believed me when I broke my silence regarding Keith Ellison. Here was my response to them. Instead of this unfounded witch hunt against Kavanaugh, I think that Ellison's clear record of alleged abuse should be front and center. Fight fire with fire. If Kavanaugh can be baselessly disparaged by the left at the 11th hour of his confirmation, then fire both barrels at Ellison, who certainly has the appearance of guilt here. What's good for the political goose is good for the political gander. Karen Monahan 01. My grandbaby deserves a world where human dignity is not a political tool for your party's interest.